And just like that, we are back, and we had a little teamwork behind the scenes. Listen, they would pay money to hear the behind the scenes talk. But Cowboys Collective episode number 38. I can tell y'all this is going to be a banger. Anytime we have John Machota, I don't know if you guys understand, but you guys are getting John Machota straight from the. Listen, you know we do a lot of. Hey, look. Hey, Scott, you know what I'm gonna say? Straight from the brick to the bottle, no cut. Please don't get me in trouble because we've been having some talks behind the scenes about the documentaries we like. So I don't know if they got that one, John, but cut. They get John straight from the brick. We don't put no chase on it.
John's our runner, man. Cocaine cowboy runner. You know?
Hey, Sky, I'm telling you, Cowboys Collective number Jeff Heath, John Machota. OTAs happen today. You know it. Here's Johnny. Take us away.
I just keep thinking of that. That's a brand name. I stand behind it.
I stand behind it.
It's a brand name. Behind it. I guarantee it. About is when you.
So it's there's stuff that there's takeaways from the field, but then there's also stuff. For me, I thought that the two most notable things, one, Micah not being there during practice, but then we see him in the locker room.
Pops up.
So I thought that was kind of interesting because this is the time of year when trying to think of a good example. It's like when the Cowboys do all their recording of all their media stuff. So like if you're at a game, like any of this stuff that's on the big screen or, I know this is the best way to describe it. You know, like when they do, this is the time of year when they do those, like the player says their name and what school they went to. So like when they're on Monday Night Football and that, Sunday Night Football, that's when they're doing all that stuff right now. So I'm pretty sure that stuff is in your contract that you have to take part in that. I'm pretty sure that's why Micah was there. Like, for example, like CD didn't practice today, no injury or anything like that. He was out on the field and stuff like that. But when he got back in the locker room, he completely put on his full uniform, like on game day, because he had to leave to go do all their media stuff that they're doing today. So I think that was a reason that Micah was there, but they believe Micah will be there for mandatory stuff next week, which I think he will too. And then the other one is Trevon Diggs. You know, he's still not working out with the team. Brian Schottenheimer said he talked to him last week. He's been working out in Miami. And so
put a pin in Miami, John. Continue.
Yeah. No, I will. I know that's exactly what fans want him to be doing, but, it is interesting because whenever these things come up, people always, I shouldn't say always, but, you know, there's natural to kind of take one side or the other. Like, I'm with the player, I'm with the team and stuff like that. I'm just going to say, with all the positive vibes coming out of Cowboys camp and all the players being there other than Diggs and Parsons, like, it doesn't really look bad for the team. You know, it looks more on the player that they're not there than it is. And I get why Mike is not there. I mean, he's looking for a new contract, you know? So, well, it is what it is. I can listen to both sides of it. I can hear why people would say players should be there. I can get why you say shouldn't be holding out. Now Diggs is a little bit different because he is under contract. So, they would prefer him to be working out with the team. That's for sure. So, they think he will be there next week as well. So that'll be interesting to see if Trevon Diggs is out there at the facility as well. In terms of actually watching on the field play, today was the best day out of the 3 OTA days that we've gotten to see in terms of like actual offensive highlights, because it's been a little boring. And I think that's by design. Why would you show anything interesting when the media is there when you don't have to? You have all these other OTA practices to do that stuff at. So, but today, Pickens had a nice grab right in front of the end zone. Looks like he got his feet in for what would be a touchdown. Jalen Tolbert had a really nice grab in the back of the end zone. Same thing, getting his toes down. And then Joe Milton had a great deep ball to Jalen Brooks up the sideline. I mean, just the way Joe Milton throws football just looks effortless, and boom, just flicks it 50 yards. Like, it's crazy. He also had an interception that Damone Clark picked off across the middle of the field.
The full experience.
It is the full experience.
Somebody said we got the Joe Milton experience today.
There's no question. But I think those are the plays that stood out the most. We started out outside, but then it got so windy because of the buildings that are around it. If it gets pretty windy in that area, like it gets so, the wind gets trapped in the buildings, and like you can't even. I get fans being like, oh, well, practicing that, or you got to get ready for that for a game. A game will not have those wind. It just won't. The stadium's completely closed. The only way you'd have wind conditions like that is if you played in like, you'd have to play in a completely open end zone because that's why all the wind gets, because it'd be like not having any stands in one end zone. I mean, even Ohio State's the horseshoe, but they still have stands in that one end zone. So you don't understand like until you're there, but like you can't even complete like short passes because the wind is just so bad. You're not accomplishing any work. So it doesn't make any sense to stay out there. So, and you have an indoor that all you guys have to do is just run inside and there's the indoor. So it's not like you guys got to go to a different like facility or something like that. It's not like it's, oh, they're at Valley Ranch and it's so windy. Now we got to go drive to the stadium or something. I mean, just go inside and get your work done. So that was good though, because when they went inside, that's when we got Steven to talk for a while. And that's when
I saw that.
Yeah, he talked a little bit about Micah's contract. And then after a couple of questions and follow-ups, he was like, well, if you guys are just gonna ask me about Micah, I'm going back to practice. Yeah, I'm good. But yeah, nothing big came out of that other than the fact that he said that there's really kind of nothing on the front burner in terms of upgrading the roster and, and players are looking. He did mention looking at some of the UFL guys, but he said there's nobody there right now like there was with Turpin, where it was like just this, oh, we absolutely want this guy. They don't have anybody like that, but their eyes are open to it. But I really think that they want to go to training camp with what they have right now. And I know fans don't love that, particularly at defensive tackle and corner, but that kind of seems like where it's at right now. So
MO.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing for me. Those are the ones that kind of stood out the most for me. I don't think I'm leaving anything out. I did some bullet points and some things that I wanted to talk about, but Sam Williams is another one. Today was the best day for Sam Williams in terms of what we got to see him do, because he came out to do rehab work and he had a knee brace on. And I was like, oh, do you have a setback? And next thing I know, he's getting his helmet. It's like, no, he had the knee brace on because he was going to go jump in on individual drills. So that's obviously a good sign for him. I would think there's a good chance that I thought he might be on PUP to start training camp. Right. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think I'm not saying he's going to be a full go at the start of training camp, but I don't think he's going to start on PUP. So that was a good sign seeing him out there.
I'm seeing him and Donovan Wilson were kind of creeping up to minicamp, getting ready for minicamp. It looked like.
Absolutely. And then the last one I was just going to say is just kind of, just from being at these practices and then just, you talk to players and coaches and stuff like that. The people that have gained the most in terms of the way I think that the team feels versus the fans going into OTAs, I think that the team is much higher on, we've talked about Tyler Guyton, Kaiir Elam, and I think Damone Clark's in there too. I'm not saying Damone Clark is like going to push for a starting spot, but like I got the sense, maybe I'm off on this, but I feel like fans think that like he's not going to make the team. There's even some reporters that we talk this to, and they'll be like, yeah, he's not going to make the roster. I'm like, I don't know about that. So
there's not enough bodies for that.
Yeah. So that's that's most of the stuff there. I got some other stuff, but I'll weave it into our conversation.
Hey, if I pick up from the Damone Clark, because he looked like he had a good practice today. Interestingly enough, Shotty mentioned him in the presser, and he goes out there a couple hours later and gets a pick and has a standout practice. But I think I was talking to 2i about this. There's just not enough bodies to automatically kick a linebacker out that linebacker room unless they're down at the bottom of the roster with no demo. Starting the season right now. Shamar James is a rookie, right? And then you got your top three, which is Sanborn, Murray, and who am I missing? Maris Leofow. So you're not going to roll with 3 or 4 backers. You're likely going to roll with 5. I don't know about 6, but at the very least 5 backers, right? So after Shamar James, who would be, if you want to have him leap Clark, which I don't think is the case right now, who is above Damone Clark? Like seriously, who would be that guy? So I don't think he's off this roster.
From nothing I've seen, but there would have to be a case where like a Justin Barron, like an undrafted guy, would have to look great in training camp or something like that, where you're like, we just can't keep this guy off the roster. We have to, or I shouldn't say keep him off the roster. They would have to be like, we're worried about if we cut him, we can't get him back to practice squad, and we don't want to let him go. We think the upside is there. That would be the only way, because they're not going out and adding any more linebackers. So.
Yeah. And I just think with linebacker, that's just a position where it's like such a physical position, injuries. I'm with Sky. We just don't have the luxury to move on.
You don't.
And why doesn't he get the opportunity to get better under Matt Eberflus?
That's the other thing, Flus. And Borgonzi, they have coached linebackers up, so You know,
Yeah,
these
and
guys
I'm
make it
hard.
work.
I'm hard on Damone Clark. I think
As
his
we should
career
be.
so far hasn't been what we thought, but crazier things have happened. So
Right.
I think that I'm with you, Sky. Let it all just play out. I want to put. So did you guys have anything? Because I have a few questions for John.
No, but hey, Michael Parsons just made a statement. He responded to Clarence Hill's contract talk. Oh well, he responded to Clarence Hill whether or not he will be at practice next week or what have you, and he stated that he haven't missed practice in 4 years, even though it's a contract situation that he's holding out for. I'm paraphrasing. He said he's preparing himself to learn the playbook and more. So he's going to be here, and I guess he's going to take the route that Dak Prescott took.
Let's stay right there, Law.
Go ahead with it.
Because that's been something that we've talked about on this channel pre-Skywalker still. Now Sky's here. What is this showing from Micah? Like, in constant communication. Yes, he's traveled some. I know Shotty has said that. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. But then he's also like, I kind of like that Micah's taking things into his own hands. He's answering these questions, but he's also going to show up. And I think that he's a man of his word. Is this him? Obviously, we know we know he's going to get paid, but I just like the fact that he's taking it amongst himself to show this type of leadership. What do you guys feel about that?
I think he's doing a great job of this balancing act. And this is what I mean. He saw how Dak Prescott handled it, right? He saw how CeeDee Lamb handled it. He's kind of in that middle.
Wow.
Where Dak showed up to everything. CeeDee Lamb didn't report until the end of training camp. Micah came at the beginning of OTAs and the involuntary or voluntary stuff. And then he's like, okay, I got to send a message. So I have to figure out a way to send a message, but I'm doing it where I'm not getting fined. Now, those fines can be waived, but he said, I'm going to be here at minicamp. So you don't have to worry about those fines, according to Micah, because he said, I haven't missed a minicamp in 4 years. So I do think there is a balancing act that these players have to play a little bit, especially when Micah, is trying to be a leader and things like that. It just happens to be he's in a contract year. And I think as fans, we kind of ignore the business side of it. Be a leader. You said be there. It doesn't matter. Be there. This contract shit's real, and with the Cowboys and the way they do it, you have to find a way to use some of the leverage that you may have. So I think he's doing a great job as long as he reports in minicamp with this balancing act. He came early, send a little message, and with the voluntary, come back for the mandatory, then they'll go on break, and hopefully it gets done by camp.
Yeah, I'm with you, Scott. I think also too, with Micah, you need him. Like, I think that there are levels, right? I know Jimmy Johnson said this famously. Hey, man, you can't do what Michael Irvin did. And speaking of Michael Irvin, he was, he had some really good stuff to say. I haven't really spoke on it on my channel or really done any work on it, but I know that Sky brought it up and I watched some things he talked about. And I'll just say this. Micah's one of those ones where Shotty said it today at his press conference. I can't coach and do things like my dad did it. In the sense, I take from it this, John. With Micah, you have a conversation. You give leeway. And yes, there's myself and there's people who will say, you know what? Micah needs to be at everything. But at the end of the day, Schottenheimer needs Micah to play when they play the Eagles. And he needs to make sure that his mindset is right, that they're on the same page. Micah has earned the right to go on a trip. He has. He's been an all-pro since he's been in the league. That's the balancing act of it. Like Scott just talked about, Micah's doing the balancing act. That's the balancing act of it. Hey, Kaiir Elam is not. He's on a 1-year deal. He got casted away from the Bills. Kaiir Elam needs to be everywhere. And I actually want to speak about that, but that's how I feel about it. Law, you got thoughts?
No, I'll just say that, hey, Micah, leadership is going to come naturally. I just think that going into this year, he's going to get paid. He's going to this probably be his best season ever. So Cowboys just need to go ahead and make the payment.
Yeah, I mean,
what if he doesn't show up to training camp?
He can't, because he's going to eat those
camp.
words that he just said that he wants to go win that Super Bowl. And he said unless he learned the playbook and continuity, he said he got to be there for the players. So I think, John, he's going to take the Dak Prescott approach and be there.
If
right,
he
no, I know he's saying that, but I'm just saying, what if he isn't though? What if
he
his
doesn't
mind
show up to
changes?
training camp? If he doesn't show up to training camp, it would. So I'm going to put an asterisk in it, John.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Sky.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying, send a message. That's
I think it would be okay.
I think the best message was sent like, do it like Zach Martin did it. Dan, still show up, but just be like, hey, I'm gonna work the course or be on the side or something like that.
I don't even know if he was there.
Was Zach Martin there?
No, he worked out back here. Yeah, with Duke.
Damn.
Yeah.
So that's a bad. Well,
I mean, that was 2 years ago, John.
If he
he
doesn't show up, it'll be the CD Lamb, Zach Martin route, which we as fans we don't want that to happen, and we know how that started off for both of those guys. By the way, Zach didn't have a sharp start to that season, and neither did CD Lamb. So hopefully the Cowboys learn their lesson and get this thing done sooner rather than later. It shouldn't get to that point with this guy. This isn't a 32-year-old. You're trying to renegotiate a contract. It shouldn't have got to that point with CD, honestly, but that's just where we're at with this organization. There's only one other organization that kind of operates like this in Cincinnati. Everybody else usually to get there. I know it happened in San Fran, but usually these type of players are getting paid by the time we get to camp. Usually.
It's funny, Scott. We talk about Zach Martin, and this is completely has nothing to do with this year, but I'm working on a piece about Tyler Guyton. And guys, I got to tell y'all, Zach, Terrence, everybody on that line outside of BB and Tyler Smith, the first half of the season was bad. Even
a couple moments to them, it was just like, man, this thing is discombobulated up here.
It really takes you to, hey, John, if you want a homework assignment, just go watch the first from week 1 to week 5. I think I said I capped it at about once they got to, I want to say the second, whatever, Thanksgiving. That's when I was like, okay, it's finally starting to look like better because they just started leaning into so much duo. But man, the run game, like I am so thankful for Clayton Adams. Prayerfully it works out, but like, bro, the ideas, everybody on that line took a step back. But anyway, that's a complete sidebar. Yeah. Now, John, Kaiir Elam's name keeps coming up.
The running back room wasn't great either.
No, it wasn't, John. No, and not only was it not great, John, they didn't have the team didn't have a plan for it. Like it was Zeke, we pray. Yeah, bruh. And Zeke, we pray. Terrible. I mean, it is what it is. I hope Zeke's dad's not watching, but it's terrible. He was terrible.
Where my 10,000 at, man? But go ahead. Hey, Law, how last you boy? How last man?
Law, you can get us a cousin. Hey, Big Stacy, we love you, but bro, I got some feel. Hey, Sky, when you go back and you watch it with a clear mind, you like,
I already had it. I had it teed up. I still got it in my computer. But anyway, go ahead.
Bro,
why would you guys put yourself through that?
I actually talked to this man for 45 minutes, and at the end of it, he told me it's all WWE, man. Let's just go on camera and make it WWE. I was like, you wasted 45 minutes of my time.
Wait. 45 minutes with who?
Stacy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about you went through all this time watching these games when the offensive line was terrible. That's why I meant why.
Well, no. I watched film. I watched more than 45 minutes, but I put together anyway.
Well, you know what it is, John. I think this is why I did it, so I can speak. I really want to go back and see because Sky has done it a few times. Sky will always give context, but there's a lot of Cowboys fans who have pooped on Tyler Guyton but not talked about what was actually wrong. And I'm gonna tell you what I came away from it. The scheme. Solari actually got spoiled by having a Hall of Famer and Tyron, all these ties. Tyron Smith. So he in 2023, whenever he was brought in, you're gifted Tyron Smith, even on the back end of his career is still better than a lot of tackles. Well, now you get Tyler Guyton and you actually have to coach. You actually have to build him. You actually have to look at what he does well and make him better and get him better. And there were just so many little things. And he was extremely lungy. He just lunged so much. No, I know, Sky, but here's the difference. In college, you're not playing Danielle Hunter 1 week, TJ Watt the next week. Like he went through a murderer's row.
I know that's why we were cautioning people that this 2024 was not going to be the year for Tyler Guyton. It was going to be a year of learning.
Yeah. And to be honest, Scott, it was so bad because I don't think that he was coached properly. That's not an excuse because I love how Tyler Guyton has owned it. And Brian Schottenheimer has said this much. But, man, when you take a look back, it's like, Jesus Christ. They didn't run any schemes to help him. Like, he's really good when he can get out in space. They would do that like once a game. Hell, I would have leaned in on that. I would have ran so much pin pull because he can actually move pretty well. But then, what I took away from it, John, when watching that film was like, man, the runners were awful, all of them, every single one of them. Rico started to get going, but then the scheme, Mike McCarthy was just like, no rhythm and why you're doing stuff.
You can just use Zeke as an example for all of this.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can have Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, whoever you want, jump on this podcast, and I will never believe other than this, what I'm about to say. I don't care how bad that offensive line was. If you had 2016 Ezekiel Elliott behind it, they'd find ways to make it work. You'd find some. When you have somebody that's just on that type of a level. So that's one reason I bring up the running back thing too, because the runner does matter,
No, it does.
In that situation, absolutely. One of my theories about the run game and running back, and now we're kind of going way left, but we're here. All right.
Yeah.
Is
if
you don't have we're here now. if you don't have a quality run scheme and run blocking, the running back matters even more. Like, it matters to have a 2016 Zeke and Adrian Peterson and Saquon Barkley. And even sometimes that doesn't work, but it matters more. When you do have a quality run game and blocking, or a combination of the two, this is the unfortunate thing for running back people, is they matter less. Now you don't need to have that high-end guy. If you have it, awesome, great. That just makes your run game better. But you can have a Miles Sanders behind the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line and go to the Super Bowl where he rushed for 1,300 yards. Right? He's not a high-end running back, but you have the quality scheme and you have the quality front. So there's context to it. Social media nowadays throws it all out the window. It's running backs matter. No, they don't. I hate running backs. I love running backs. There's so much in between, but that's kind of my thought on it. The running back definitely would have matters more in a situation like last year. In a situation like 2015 or 16, if you didn't have Zeke, you saw a quality DMC type of season, but Zeke get to another level because you had the combination of all three. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't mean to take us off the rails, y'all. It's good conversation. I just when going back, because we hear so much about Guyton improving, and I'm like, I would hope that, and this ties just into who Shotty is, guys. He's making this staff look at these players and see what can we do to get them better. He said that multiple times. What is our plan to get Guyton better? What is our plan to get Kaiir Elam better? John, I want to ask you about Kaiir Elam. He keeps being brought up. You said this much, that fans may not be as high on him. What is it about him that you've seen, whether his movement, they talked about how fast he was, John. Shotty said it was definitely the scheme. Like some people, he said some players need a fresh start, and somewhere along those lines. What are you seeing from Kaiir Elam in chat and not chat, but Sky Law? Like, how do we feel about this? Because I think this is now real, that there's a possibility Kaiir Elam could be your starting corner in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, he just looks like a guy that's playing with like a lot of confidence. I mean, he's got good size. Like you said, the fast part is there. Dak threw a deep ball to Pickens today that Dak probably underthrew it a little bit, and Elam knocked it away. It was just in good position. They don't really want him to be battling for anything and guys getting injured, but he put his hand up, knocked it down. He just looks like a player that is pretty confident in himself. He doesn't look like a player that is, just kind of some guy they just signed off the streets who's been with 5 different teams, and you're like, well, we need corners, so just add this guy. He obviously was a high draft pick, and so maybe the new change of scenery works from thinking of the high draft pick thing. I saw this the other day. Right. I forgot I was going to tell you guys about this. So I don't know why, but I just went back to, I'll randomly look up like players on 247 to see like their recruiting rankings and stuff. And I looked up George Pickens.
Oh my God.
The top 100 that year. I don't have it with me right now, but let's say he was 40. Number 41, top high school seniors that year. Andrew Booth.
Jeez. Oh yeah.
I forgot about that.
I mean, Clemson high school happens.
Booth at Clemson was really good, bro. Yeah. I'm telling you, like if you go back and look at 24/7 in the rankings, you'll see some guys up there. You like, man, he was awful.
Guys that's like 1 star, like what? And then they ultimately turn out. To
I also wonder if they kind of boost some people up after they start playing better in the pros. Like I saw this one with like, I don't know, Puka Nacua looked kind of high for what Puka Nacua was, but whatever. Either way, George Pickens and Andrew Booth were just neck and neck. So
wow, back in those.
Did you, Fuzz, you listen to that press conference? Do you like how Shotty mentioned Booth today? Or you know what? Maybe it wasn't Shotty. I'm getting it mixed up. Steven mentioned him. That's what it was. When he was talking about the corners. Sorry, I got the quote right here. Between guys
bring it up, Johnny.
Between guys like Diggs and Revel in particular, guys that can make a huge difference for us, we'll know a lot more when we get to camp. But we do like what Booth was doing. We really like what Elam's doing. Carson is really starting to get his legs again, and of course, Bland is Bland. So he's one of the best in the business.
Okay,
but
all right, he just basically talk about everybody that's out there and able at this point in time. That's all Steven did right there.
He didn't mention Troy Pride.
Troy, he probably don't even know. He don't know Troy Pride's on the team. Bro.
Since we're talking about that, not to derail this too much, but watching like the lineups in practice to like if you want to like dig into quotes and stuff like that when you talk to different people, like. I don't think it's particularly close right now with Jalen Tolbert and Mingo. Like, I think it's clearly Jalen Tolbert.
Ooh, talk about it, John. Dig in. Talk about it. Don't go nowhere.
No, I'm just saying, like, from what I've seen, and then just like when you talk to people about like the receiver room and things like that, like Tolbert is always being mentioned before Mingo. If Mingo's not even being mentioned at all sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe that comes on, but like Tolbert is always with the ones. I don't really see Mingo with the ones at all. Like, obviously, Tolbert and Dak are close. They've worked together for several years now and stuff like that. Like, I don't see that being particularly close. So, I don't see Tolbert going anywhere for any of the fans that want to write him off. Like I tweeted today that he made a nice catch, and people are like commenting on it. Like, I don't want to hear any more about Jalen Tolbert. I'm like, he's your number 3 receiver, whether you like it or not.
You're getting some Jalen Tolbert.
Like, dog, like we understand that he's a 3 now. That is a perfect spot for him.
I completely agree.
Tyler Boyd.
or think Seth Wilson in 2021, man. Like,
if he said Wilson, I am fine.
I mean, he had a better year than Seth Wilson last year. So they never have 707 touchdowns.
Good enough.
So like him at 3 changes everything. We shouldn't have fights anymore about Tolbert. Tolbert as 2.
I'm telling you, the catch he made in the back of the end zone was real nice today. It was like in a drill where Dak rolled out, and it was team drills and that, and then. It's ones going against the ones. There's sometimes where you'll see some of these highlights from training camp and like a guy will have like a big catch or something like that. And sometimes it's like, that's a starting level player that's playing with the 2s or 3s. Right. They should make those plays. Like he was running with the 1s, and the play breaks down. Dak rolls out, throws a great ball to Tolbert in the back of the end zone. He gets both feet down, and it just a really good play. Like he's playing with a ton of confidence too. So. I just don't see it like it's some neck and neck race. I mean, things would have to really change for me to feel that way.
Mingo's gonna have to go take it. It'd have to be preseason or whatnot. Because think about it.
Or maybe in practice he's just mossing people on some Joe Milton deep balls or something. He's gonna have to do something.
Moss Andrew Booth.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Hey, let's do some housekeeping because I want to get back to this receiver talk because I think Sky is on to something.
And we had a $20 super chat.
So we'll get to the super. Let's get to the super law. Actually, you can go ahead and hit the super law, and then I'll get back to the. I want to do the read, and then because this is a good conversation about let me see if here it is. I'll read it. I'll pull it up. Let's have another great show tonight on time, or his foot's late to the party again. Steve, I'm here, baby. Come on, Steve. Don't kill me like that, man. We having a good. I don't want to fight today. I just want to get all the information. We'll fight another time. We got the season to fight. Let's talk civilized. Now this could go left, but Steve, come on now. I'm on time. And then also, speaking of a good catch, people got to remember. And watch how I do this, y'all. People got to remember that Jalen Tolbert had a great game versus who? I don't want to say a great game, but he had a big game. He had a few catches. He had a good catch versus the Steelers, but he had a great game versus the Eagles. And, let me find a graphic right here. I think it's right here. I messed it up. I had my whole read ready. There we go. Week 1 versus the Eagles, guys. How do we feel? Bet US.
What is Bet US trying to get us to bet here?
Cowboys versus Eagles, a successful 2-point conversion plus 250. They threw me a curveball on this one, Sky. I would take the spread.
CD Lamb and George Pickens go for 225 combined. Damn.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You take that, Law, game one?
I take that game one. I think that it's going to be one of those games, man. Spoilers, we're going to play that, and they're going to show off
Law.
the fancy car. You know, they're going to show off the new Lamb, the new Lambo. They're going to show it off. Go ahead.
Can you bet the total number, the total points there?
Oh, I would take the
like
over.
under?
I think I would go over. I see fireworks on game one.
Under.
I think it was fireworks last year, Eagles, Packers, right? Like I think both teams.
It started off slow and then they started scoring points.
Yeah.
What was that score, Eagles Pack? Yeah, it was kind of weird, but it was.
Remember the Packers got in the red zone a few times and they couldn't punch it in.
But
yeah,
weird.
I'm not a betting person, but yeah, I think the Cowboys can definitely cover this though. 7 points.
They can cover 7 points spread way too much for an NFC East game and Dak Prescott healthy. I don't. So anyway, guys, BetUS has all your betting needs. Sorry, guys, my read was kind of ashy right there, but I'm back. I was a little ashy, but I'm back, and we got 500 people in here. We got 30 minutes. So I want to ask y'all something about the receiver room. Sky says Jalen Tolbert is a 3. I kind of feel the same way, but we talked about Turpin, and now I heard that Mingo and what's his name were on the board, CD, and that was cool from Michael Irvin. Are we just like, have we just as a fan base got so sick of Tolbert and it's just like we still think that he's the 2? Or is it Tolbert does this and we really just don't believe in him because he's never really been like that guy? Because I'm kind of with Sky, like, man, if you're gonna have old reliable, and I guess it goes back to what the offense is gonna look like. But if, like, to me, Tolbert is just a reliable guy. Like, he's gonna be where he's supposed to be, but he's not gonna do anything special. Is that why we don't like Tolbert, or is it just like why do fans not like Tolbert? Because I even have gotten Tolbert fatigue because John will tweet out these nice videos of Tolbert at training camp a year ago. And I'm like, man, I'm expecting more, and more never came. So why is that, Law?
Well, expectations is the only reason why they had too high of expectations of him. So I just look at it like this now. Turpin or Tolbert, I meant to say, will shine because he's the 3rd or the 4th option. He no longer will be the 1st or the 2nd. And of course, around this time last year, we had no CD. So it was kind of like, hey,
good point.
The only person we can see is Tolbert. And of course, everybody now is getting pushed back down on the line. So this is good competition right there. Jalen Tolbert versus Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flournoy, and Mingo for the ball now, or Trayshawn Holden or Josh Kelly. So now it's going to be a situation whereas whoever is going to be the 3rd wide receiver, they earned it.
Sky?
Maybe expectations, 3rd round pick. He came in. We were all hoping he'd be the wide receiver 2. That never panned out. And now we're in his 4th year, right? Contract year. So you got 3 years of where you're like, man, nobody's really a huge fan of Tolbert. So, I guess that kind of carried over. Again, it's pretty simple to me. Tolbert as wide receiver 2, we're in big trouble. Tolbert as wide receiver 3, I'm just not about to sit here and be fighting over Tolbert at wide receiver 3. You go look around the league at wide receiver 3s, they look like Tolbert. Like, that's just real. A lot of teams will probably take that type of production and type of guy. You're not asking him to go out there and get 7 to 8 targets a game anymore, right? 9 targets a game at wide receiver 2. You're asking him just to be, like you said, just come up in those moments, be reliable in those moments, be where you need to be. And there's going to be games where he won't even be featured much at all, right? Because I do think there's going to be some form of wide receiver 3 by committee, with Turpin getting involved with some packages. Ferguson is going to be the true number 3 option. The running backs are going to be involved. I don't expect to see him with 80, 90 targets this year. I think those targets will get spread around between the other 2. So, yeah, I guess it's Tolbert fatigue because you expected him, high expectations early, didn't live up to him. Year 2 wasn't great. Year 3 was a solid year, obviously. But again, as wide receiver 2, it was like, we don't want him. He wasn't that great as wide receiver 2. But as wide receiver 3, I beg you to look around the league. We're not looking at a bunch of Pickens at wide receiver 3s. You're looking at a bunch of Tolberts for real.
Also, him not doing anything his rookie year, I think, is a big part of it too. Because when you look at the Cowboys history, I just brought it up again because I remember writing about this at the time. Is that like when the Cowboys take a receiver in the first 3 rounds, they usually hit. Like even though Gallup got hurt, like Gallup right away, you were like, oh yeah, no, this guy's he's got the upside to be like a legit number 2 receiver, you know, but obviously he couldn't stay healthy and that dropped off. But like Antonio Bryant, Des Bryant, Terrence Williams, you know, obviously CD, like usually when the Cowboys take a receiver in the first 3 rounds, they get something for it. And Tolbert brought very little his rookie year. And so you can see this steady progressions, and that's great and all, but I just think, man, like if that's your number 3 receiver on a team that has a good receiving tight end in Jake Ferguson, and then there's more you can do with Cavante Turpin, and then it seems like you got some running backs and catch the ball in the backfield. Like you got a lot of weapons. Like I think Tolbert will be fine. And if you get in a situation where Tolbert's got that other team's Andrew Booth or whoever is their weakest corner on that game, like I think he'll be fine against that guy. I mean, had to go against good corners against other teams, and he's made catches. So yeah, I don't get the dislike for him. I don't know. I've seen more from him than I have from any of the other guys that he would be competing with for that number 3 spot.
I get the dislike because of his earlier in the season, but I think you're allowed to collect more data and say, okay, I have to alter my thought process because we have, more data that came in. George Pickens is here, right? That changes everything. But also very sneaky red zone receiver too. So if you are looking for, hey, what does he do? Well, he is very good in the red zone. He was one of the more efficient red zone receivers last year. He basically took over the role of Jake Ferguson. Ferg was their red zone guy last year. Or 2023, he was number 1 among all tight ends in red zone targets. Tolbert was one of the more efficient guys in the red zone. So, he's a guy that, at least when he gets down there, he has a feel for that. And he showed some of it a little bit in 2023 as well. So that is one thing he does pretty good, is once you get across that 25-yard line, he can be a reliable guy.
Woo, good stuff, guys. I want to ask you, John, what have you seen from Miles Sanders running around out there? Obviously, it's running back, so they're not hitting. But juice-wise, what does he look like?
No, he looks quick for sure. I know that there's other people that have reported on that too. He does, absolutely. I just have watched too many of these practices to put too much weight into that, just because, again, without having any pads on, and I don't know, it just really seems like with the way Schottenheimer is coaching in that, like he really doesn't even want guys even messing around and getting close to making a tackle. Like he wants to get through this thing as healthy as possible. So yeah, it looks great right now, but it reminds me a little bit of that first week of training camp when like some of these receivers are just killing it. And you're just like, man, this guy's ready to have a big camp. And then the pads come on and you're like, oh yeah, he doesn't kind of look like the same guy. Obviously Miles Sanders has had success in the NFL. And so wouldn't surprise me if that carries over. I just haven't tweeted stuff out or written much about it because I just don't want to pump up something too much until I actually see more of it. But yeah, no, he looks like he's got some juice for sure. So yeah, between him, Jaden Blue, Javonte Williams, and Maffa, I mean, I don't think they're going to be rotating out 3 backs. So 2 guys are going to have to,
win the job.
Yeah. Raise their game up. And maybe Miles is one of them. But to be honest, like when they're doing the team drills in front of us, it's like 85% pass plays, like it's not like they're not doing many like handoff thing. And I think it's by design too. They don't want to get any of these offensive linemen rolled up on or get some type of freak injury to, Fowler or one of the DNs or something like that, or one of your D tackles, obviously. So there hasn't really been anything that looks even close to what you're going to see on Sunday. So that's the only reason why I haven't gotten too crazy with it. But yeah, no, he looks quick for sure.
I wanted to ask you guys, because I don't think we really went deep into Elam, but who would be more of a surprise being like a contributor on this football team? Miles Sanders or Kaiir Elam? Scott.
Bigger surprise?
Yeah. I mean, to catch you off guard.
No.
Okay, so let me set the table, Scott.
A little bit. Yeah.
So Elam, again, Schottenheimer keeps talking. I don't know if it's the Florida ties. He's going out his way to talk about Kaiir Elam, and he's talking about the athleticism. I don't know if they see him more as like, let's just ask Kaiir Elam to play this way. You know what I mean? It's got like certain corners. I don't like certain corners in zone. I just don't. And maybe they're like, yo, they drafted him to do this. That's not what he does. We don't want him to do this. Let's put him in a receiver's face. The athleticism is there. He can run. We can clean up some of what he does.
Yeah,
cool.
but I'm talking about your question.
So what I was saying was because they believe that he could. They may think he could do it. And then what Miles Sanders is, Miles Sanders, right, was in with the Panthers. He was a dud with the Panthers, but what if he came here and was not? I don't know. So I was just like, who would be?
No, it's a good question. But I was just trying to get a little bit more context to the question. Are you saying who would be a bigger surprise as a productivity for the season, or like
for the season
or camp?
Season.
Or
I wanted a whole rant for the season. For the season,
to me, it would be Kaiir Elam because we haven't seen it.
Oh, Scott, we got to fight. It would definitely be Miles Sanders for me.
Well, just your question. Just
Miles Sanders at least had 1,000-yard season.
That's where I'm getting at here. Miles Sanders had a really good start to his career. Like we've seen.
Yeah, the
Miles
last time
Sanders
he played for an actual organization.
It wouldn't. I'm just going right off your question. It would not surprise me if Miles Sanders came out and was productive because I've seen it. Where Kaiir Elam, I haven't seen it over a full course of a season yet, so it would surprise me more. But if you ask me, like, who has the higher upside, probably Kaiir because he's a little bit early, a little bit younger. Yeah, he's a little bit younger. You know, probably got one of the more tread left. Maybe I don't know.
He wanted to teach,
and I get that was Miles. That was a couple years ago. I completely understand that. But you're also, I'm the type of person though that I also don't think Bryce Young plays like that on a different team. I think his environment has led to a lot of what's happened there. You tell me that Bryce Young gets the Cooper flag where somehow he goes to a good team because they ended up with the #1 pick. Bryce Young is just fine right now. He never would have been benched. None of that stuff would have happened. The organization has a lot to do with that too. So that's the only reason why I'm saying that, hey, if Miles Sanders' his best days are long behind him, then that's fine. But I'm also going to factor in where these 2 drop-off years happened at.
That's fair. And also run game depended on, run blocking, run scheme. We expect to have a better run blocking and run scheme. So it just it wouldn't surprise me if any of these backs were productive because I think we're going to be better running the ball. Whereas again, Kaiir Elam just haven't seen it yet. Let's just be completely honest here. Anybody saying Kaiir Elam's going to ball out, that is pure blind optimism. We just haven't seen it. And that's not me trying to, poo-poo on Kaiir Elam. It's just when we do see it, it'll be the first time.
Right, it'll be the first time.
Law, what about you?
Good problem. Hey, either one of these guys, it'd be a good problem to see. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's Kaiir or if it's the running back, because the bar it's set real low. Because what was the longest explosive play last year? It was like 20.
We didn't have a 30-yard rush.
We didn't have a single 30-yard rush.
Not a single one.
It'll be very surprising if we see Sanders get a 35-yard rush on the first run, and we'd be like, "Yeah!" So either
we're getting one, Law. We're getting one. Come on, with Jay and Blue here, we for sure getting a 30-yard rush. If Miles Sanders does have this spark that they're talking about, and we're getting one with him. Hell, you might get one with big fella. What's his name? Javonte Williams. We're gonna get a 30-yard rush. Believe that.
30-yard run.
Believe that.
You guys know why that stat is so telling and why it's so hard to play offense in the NFL without explosives. It's because as I was watching the film again, John, I know you said why'd I do this to myself? Probably because I'm a little crazy, John. But you go back.
No, some people enjoy watching film. That's fine. I don't particularly enjoy it. I enjoy watching off of some highlight stuff, but I don't like watching.
You're talking to a coach, though.
Yeah, which I never want to do.
It's a lot, bro.
I would never want to coach ever. I want to coach myself. That's it. I don't want to be.
And I respect that about John.
Else. I want to control myself, and that's it. So no, that's the only reason. I feel about watching film like I feel about baseball. I like watching good film. I don't really care to watch bad film.
Well, the crazy thing about it, John,
baseball is the worst. Sorry.
Well, I think the crazy thing is we would have a good drive, then a holding. We would have a good drive, then a false start. We would have a good drive, then somebody missed a blocking assignment. That's why explosives matter. That's why George Pickens matter. Because sometimes, Scott, I just want to line up in 3-by-1, look at this corner right here and say, George Pickens, just go beat him, and I'm gonna throw you a lob. Scrap the scheme, scrap the eye candy and the if-then play calling and what we're trying to set up. I want to look at George Pickens and say, you have a 5'11" corner on you. I'm throwing you a jump ball. Get my offense started. And we just didn't have that last year. CD was trying. Bro, CD had a catch. I was watching the film against Pittsburgh. I'm like, how did he catch this ball? On the sideline, Dak put that ball in.
That throw was crazy.
That throw was nuts.
Hey, that Cleveland Brown throw when he
Cleveland Brown throw, Law.
Yeah.
But the offense was so stale, and that's why a home run hitter like a Blue. Hey, you know what, Blue? We're gonna throw a jailbreak. We're gonna throw a middle screen to you. Go just run for 60 yards and come out the game. I don't care. Like, and the one player that we haven't talked about tonight could be Turpin. Where in that the Houston game just takes a slant from the number 3 and just runs past wherever he was in the alignment in that 5 wide. But I just think those are why.
Hey, real quick on that. They haven't shown us anything cool with Turpin.
Uh-oh.
And if you believe that they don't have anything cool set up for Turpin, then you know nothing about Brian Schottenheimer. That's done on purpose. You're not even gonna just go through the motions on something. You don't want to even give us anything. That's definitely by design. That's not. I will be stunned if we get to Sundays and we don't see some stuff like that. We're like, damn, okay.
You're onto something, John, because they asked him, hey man, so what about the?
I want to be messy too.
He said, I'm not going to tell you about that, but I'm like, okay, so there is some mystery to which shot. So Shotty ain't going to just tell and show you everything. He is showing some mystery there.
So I'm gonna say this. He not showing them because John Matrota just tweeted a picture, floating Dak, keep it moving. The rest of the reporters, they're gonna get. It was on 1st and 10, and they were in 12 personnel, and they had a play over the pylon. And you know how many people are reading Todd Archer's breakdown and this? So I'm with you, John. It's like he definitely not gonna show Turpin because that's the same reason why we don't get content like. I know we just poo-pooed on the Panthers, but the Panthers are giving their fans a documentary. We don't get any of it. Sky, I hate it. All right, that's my little way.
No,
so if the interest in the Cowboys fell off, I promise you they'd allow that.
Yeah, that's true.
I saw your favorite wide receiver out of the draft, man. Jacksonville Jaguars, Hunter. I mean,
yeah.
Travis,
I'll just say this. I'm friends with some writers that cover teams in other sports that are in just nobody cares about that team. Players will sit down with the tablet and just go over things with you and stuff like that. You want to come over and watch the game at my house? Believe me, like when nobody cares about the team, access is phenomenal. But when the team has a hardcore base and that they're not going to let you. And then, honestly, there are other teams that allow it that obviously, Steelers have a big fan base and stuff like that. But that's just how the Cowboys have always been. They do not let us shoot any video at any of that. So that's why training camp's so great for us. And that's probably why the training camp numbers do well is because it's the only time out of the season you can really get that stuff. During the season, it's a waste anyway because they don't do anything notable when we're out there. It's stretches, individual drills. Like, do you really need to see if George Pickens can catch a ball on air? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not anything where – and then they get into special teams, and they don't show anything there. And if they do, we're not allowed to report on, like, the fake punts and things like that. So – they take all of the fun out of it, So we got to keep finding ways to try and make it fun.
Yeah, and that's the good and the bad of covering this team. And hey, man, it feeds our family, so we're thankful for it. Now, let me say this: if does anybody else have any thoughts on the presser, Sky or Law, or what you heard coming out of OTA? Because I got something that I want to go to, but I want to make sure that.
I wanted to say hats off to John for taking those floating pictures of.
He's the goat.
How did you do that?
Yeah, I want to be messy, but I'm not going to. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Well, I can steal John's pictures but anyway.
Why? Who's doing that now?
No, John. It's an insider. I'll tell you afterwards. I'm gonna tell you afterwards.
Now you're being messy.
I used to not care, but it's gotten out of hand lately to where I'm just kind of like, and then the fact that they barely let us do anything anymore. And so it's like, I get when people take them from like the team website because they got like a billion of them on there, which again, we can't do at all. But it just been like lately, I've been just like noticing so much and I'm just like, whatever. But no, to answer your question though, Law, I take a lot. Yeah. So like I probably have 50 pictures that I took of George Pickens running out where I'm just taking like one after another. And then you just go through them after and just find whatever's the best one. Yeah. I probably have 15 pictures on this phone right now of these two refs standing in the way while Pickens is running out, where it's just like right in their face. I'm just like, guys, keep it moving. Nobody's taking a picture of you. Keep it going here. We're trying to get, I'm trying to get a picture. The guy just switched jerseys. I know people care about this stuff.
Y'all better get out John way. All right. Now, I want to talk about this Michael Irvin. It was really good. Michael Irvin, guys, We just get him some better audio, Sky. I just don't want him talking from his computer speaker. So, Sky, go to his house, set it up. But other than that,
the irony in you saying that, I'll tell you guys behind the scenes, but that's funny.
Listen, that dude can tell a story. And if there's one person that you hear everybody else talk about the shoddy stuff, you know, and John has definitely put out a few fires on here. But when Michael Irvin starts talking about competition, it's real. There's one thing that he said to me. It's my turn. No, this is what he said. He said, I wanted this. He really loved that Shoddy got on them discipline wise. Because this is what scares me now, right? The high is right now. The high is nothing happening, no adversity. Shoddy's telling great stories, and everybody loves his press conferences. But what happens when adversity comes? Can you discipline these guys? That's what I wanted. That's what I'm listening for that. So when Michael Irvin said he had to get on them after having a good practice and he had to call them out, that's what makes a good head coach. Because yes, you do have to do some of the Micah, the conversation, the Trevon Diggs in Miami, even though I don't like that, but whatever, cool. But now the players coach, we love you. But can you get this team disciplined? Because I tell you what Foots is looking for this year, guys, it's not on the coaching staff anymore. And that's going to be my theme throughout this year, and we'll probably get in fights about it. These players got to lock in. These players got to compete. These players got to get better. These players have to get themselves better. Tyler Guyton is not on Duke Manyweather in your training and your app. You need to get better. So I just, what did you guys take from that Irvin interview? Because I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
I'll be real brief on it. My thing is I go in, I know he's as diehard of a Cowboys fan as a Cowboys fan can be. And so I'm going in thinking, okay, I already know what this is going to be because Michael's always trying to put a positive spin on things. But the examples he used, I thought were really good about, like you mentioned, the dry erase board, stuff like that. I thought that was really good to get the behind the scenes. But I also will say this. I do think that Michael is a huge Cowboys fan, understandably so, and he has a huge personality, and that's obviously he's great for TV because of that. With that being said, I do think that he was a little hesitant when they hired Schottenheimer, and he said as much. And I do think if he went out there the other day and it was like, man, this thing's all over the place, I do think that he would have come back and said something like, I mean, it's nice, but they got some work to do or whatever like that. Like I don't think he'd be as committed as he was in that video. I think that what Schottenheimer's doing, really, he bought into that. And so that's what stood out to me.
You know, the thing is, Schottenheimer, to me, just observation from afar, he comes off as a college buddy. He don't come off when you first meet him as a coach or what have you. So he comes off as a friend that you get a chance to say, okay, this guy knows football. His dad played football. I could be a little lackadaisy. But then you see that he's not a pushover. And I think that that's what a third of the fan base is going to see this year, is that he's been in this for a long time. I like to quote what he said, that his father coaches different and he's probably frowning upon him in heaven. But things have changed. Time has changed. And I think Shoddy is very adaptable. And the craziest thing that came to me earlier today is a lot of people were saying, what if Shoddy gives you the Sirianni approach? Because when Sirianni first got the job, no one thought that he would be successful. But now, if you really look back at it, I know this GM doing a lot for the Eagles. You can literally say that Sirianni is a real successful coach because of the fact that
I still don't understand, though. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah. But
there are some. Hey, sometimes
you get lucky.
Sometimes you trade Luka Doncic and you end up with Cooper Flagg. We don't know how it works out. It just sometimes happens that way. I still don't get it. We don't need to be covering a team where Shoddy's yelling at fans and stuff. Like, I just don't think that stuff's necessary. We don't need his personal protector becoming a celebrity that's speaking at engage. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on there, including just stuff that went on with that team last year throughout the playoffs. That there's a lot of leaving the scratch in the head, other than the fact that they stayed as healthy as anybody possibly could get. So I'm still not all the way over. There is a statue in front of Doug Peterson, and Doug's great, but I don't know that a lot of people are putting Doug Peterson statues up front. So I'm just saying, like, let's let this thing play out a little bit. I'm still not completely sold on.
But you see, that's how it goes. When you win, it cures everything, and that's what the illusion of Sirianni being this great coach is, because of they winning. So when you start looking at Schotty, he comes off with the illusion that he's this college buddy, but then he's got strict discipline. If he wins with this, and everybody expecting him to be not a good winning coach because of the way he come off, they're going to look at him. But then again,
I think they expect him not to be successful because he's never been a head coach, Law. He's been in the league for 20-some years and never. So I think it's more that. I think people trying to poo-poo his personality is maybe because we had Dan Quinn here, and the way it ended with Dan Quinn was, he was a buddy guy, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think this is way more Dan Quinn, the head coach, and Pete Carroll, the head coach, than it is Nick Sirianni or just some college coach out of what's his name? He coached for the Eagles, ironically, the Chip Kelly. I don't think this is a Chip Kelly college coach situation. This is more Pete Carroll and Dan Quinn as head coaches, in my opinion. Guys that have been around the league for a long time, has that energy. He talked about adapting and seeing. He said Pete Carroll was 70-something and had more energy than me at 40-something. I had to get in shape.
That was a great point, Scott. Love that.
Yeah, I think he's
great cleanup too, Scott. Because that's a better. Those two are better.
I know what
examples.
you're saying.
I get what you were trying to say, Law.
Yeah, I get what you were saying. But Sirianni's just.
I forgot
what I really want to say, man, is for real, the Eagles. But I don't want to go that far. And for real, Sirianni. But it's cool. But anyway, so your question, Foots, was about Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
My takeaway from that was when he said I'm paraphrasing here, everybody was aligned and was on the same page. And I had brought this up last week, where this organization for far too long has not been on the same page from top down. Now, I'm not saying that, the owners are that maybe they go veer left, but I did hear Will McClay talk about how it was refreshing. I think it was at the combine that everybody is on the same page. I heard Aaron Whitecotton talk about I didn't have to compromise or fight Matt Eberflus or Schottenheimer. We're all on the same page. Michael Irvin said he got there and he's like, man, there is a message. You feel that these coaches and these players and everybody in that building is on the same page, aligned and focused, and have that one goal, and not being cliche, right? Because we all have one goal, but they all weren't on the same page, because we saw McCarthy and Kellen Moore were not on the same page.
Right.
We know Schottenheimer and McCarthy were on the same page. So that was my biggest takeaway, that he kind of feel that.
There's a sign that, like, there's this area, like, right outside the locker room at the Star where, like, Mike McCarthy put up these different slogans. It would be this, whatever their slogan is for the season, and they wouldn't choose what it would be until the season, right before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like his thing, whatever. Well, there's already a new sign up there that under Schottenheimer, and it says, our team will be driven by our competitive spirit and love for one another. And I just think that's interesting, because it's like, who, like, at the professional level, like, who's really talking about, like, like the love for one another. And that's clearly that you can tell he wants everybody to be as tight as possible, not just hey, we're going to bring in as many star players and you guys do whatever you want, but just show up on Sunday and we'll take care of it. Like, he wants, that group to be actually, like, really tight. And I think the reason he wants that is obviously, like, he seems like he genuinely wants that as a person, but also that he probably thinks that in the times of adversity, that's when that stuff is going to matter the most. And so, like I've said before, we'll see. Sundays will be, like, proven or not. And there's no way you go through 17 games without adversity. I don't care how good you are. So we'll see if that stuff pays off at that time.
But that's where it pays off, right, Law? Like, if you are tight, when brothers fight, right? Family fights.
Yeah, they do fight.
But how you come out on the other end is what matters. Is the fight going to end up breaking the locker room or breaking the team apart, or is it going to eventually bring them closer, or they find a solution within that disagreement, as opposed to going out right in front of the podium and talking about, hey man, install it and call it. Go ask him. I don't bullshit. I don't do that. What you talking about?
I don't like those guys that are OC guru.
I don't do
you
that.
Said install it, you call it. Yeah, I'm like,
damn, you going to the public just throwing your OC under the bus, but all right, bro.
And no rooted, rooted this year. No cease everything. I forgot the other
rooted.
Yeah, cease everything.
Yeah.
Cease everything and the Chinese bamboo story.
Watermelons and shit.
Yeah, it got him to 12 wins 3 years in a row.
It did.
No. It did. Mike
I'm just having fun with Mike, man, because he ain't here no more. But
me and Sky went to battle on Mike McCarthy. But the truth is, the difference, honestly, that I've seen with Brian Schottenheimer, he'll say things and be like, I don't know if it's gonna work. I love when he says it, but we're gonna try it. And it's like I like that. Like, hey, cool. Try something different.
Like when he cuss a little bit. I like that.
Hey, Law, you know what my antennas went up today? When he said, if the coaches ain't up, that's what I'm like, you know what? I'm all in, bro. I see and John, this is what I was gonna make about. I wanted to just push back a little bit. What you say with
a little bit's crazy.
I want to push back just a little. You know what this mean, John? Just a little. No, because Michael Irvin was very critical of the Brian Schottenheimer hire. I remember that.
Yes, he was.
He was out.
I think there's somebody that he really wanted to have the job.
Yeah,
you remember at that time.
Oh yeah.
So I got to remember that. Never mind. I can't push back anymore.
Snapped on Shotty.
He went crazy, and he was not. The Cowboys are. We need a winner, but then he's come to see, like, bro, you may have got this in Shotty. Shotty's been waiting in the wings. He's been watching respectfully. Like he always gives Mike McCarthy respect. But when he's saying things like, bro, we can't expect these players to have energy, because to be real with you, John, when we go to these playoff games, John, when San Fran comes in with the speaker and I know it's silly to you, John, but when you see Debo, dog, that pissed me off so much seeing Debo Samuels, man. He's bouncing around and we getting punched on. That is coaching. That is y'all are flat. What is going on?
I think with the Niners, though, I will say I just seeing those games, getting to those games early, seeing some of the pregame stuff that they would do. That could be a Niner thing, but I'm interested to see where it goes as we move forward, because I think that's a lot of Debo Trent Williams thing.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see like if that carries on, because Nick Bosa's really not like that. McCaffrey's not. Brock Purdy certainly is not like that. But like Debo and Trent Williams, that is absolutely that. They're the first guys out. They're the ones with the speaker, but they're also the ones that will go up to the kicker and be like, knock the ball away and stuff like that, and be like, you can go kick over there and stuff. Like they like to stir it up, So I'm interested to see.
I wonder if Debo can do that at DMV, man. Come on, can he do that over there at Foots?
Oh, they'll let him. I'm pretty sure that. Well, I don't know, because Dan will be like, "Hey, we want to respect everybody." And see, honestly, I think it works because get the cusser thing ready. The beep. I think Shanahan he's a jerk. Like Shanahan's a dick. Like Shanahan is a great coach, but trust me, if Shanahan don't think you good, he gonna get you out of there. He's one of those type of OCs. Shanahan. I've done a lot of studies on Shanahan's OC. He believes it's his play calling, not the players. I'm gonna tell you that now. Like that is very. You can not now, mind you, he wanted to get Christian McCaffrey over there. Yeah,
Foots. If you coach to multiple Super Bowls with Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy,
for sure. I
can't argue. I can't argue. I was just about to say he is rightfully so the most arrogant play caller in the league.
Oh, for sure,
and rightfully so, right? Like you just said, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy.
But I mean,
the only other one,
the side is I don't think Sean McVay is really like that.
I was just about to say that's the only one who could get in his water. Yeah. Sean McVay, and Ben not so. Ben he gets lax day, but Sean is a play caller. He might be one too.
I was Matt LaFleur, caller. I didn't say it was the best play caller. I think you could probably juggle that around. I'm just saying he's the most arrogant.
Yeah, he is, because and you know why too, Sky? All of them came from him or his dad's tree. He gonna tell you that. Yeah.
But even though McVay is more successful.
Yes.
100%. He's more successful. 100%. But when you refuse to go and get Q, now granted they did try to go up, and you said I'm gonna just try to win it with the 7th rounder, and almost did it. And Jimmy Garoppolo, yeah, man. Like you just said, it's my system, not the players. He's arrogant as hell. And
you know who probably feels that way more than anybody? This goes with his track record plus what has happened most recently. I bet you can't tell a damn thing to Vic Fangio.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was the Super Bowl MVP. Like just how he's been in previous press conferences.
Even at
now
Denver,
he didn't have the success
Listen
as
how
a
I
head
feel
coach.
about Vic Fangio. This is a sour.
But in
spot
terms
for
of
me.
defensive coaching, I bet you can't tell him a damn
he's
thing that it was.
Hey, John, rightfully so. I don't know if people actually go look at his resume.
Yeah,
this is why I was screaming for Vic Fangio last year.
You were,
yeah.
Him and Spags. I could watch them coach defense. I mean, I know Spags got toe up in the Super Bowl, but I mean,
Spags is the greatest. He's outside of Bill Belichick. Spags is arguably the greatest big game defensive coordinator in history. I mean, you go look in the history of the playoffs. What DC is doing, what Spags has done, twice over in New York, and then 3 or 4 times over.
Wade Phillips. Wade has
1 Super Bowl.
I thought he had 2.
Wade has.
You know why? You know why I can't say Wade. You know why I can't say Wade.
I like Wade, but Spags is 17-0 Patriots.
Hell yeah,
right. You go. What he's done in Kansas City has been defenses that have won those Super Bowls.
And Wade having
on the Rams team.
Say again. Yeah, that's the Super Bowl. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I thought he had. Okay, yeah. I thought he won one with Denver though, as a DC.
He did. He had DeMarcus Ware, and he had Ware, and he had
he lost that Super Bowl. That's the Super Bowl he won in Denver. He lost the Rams one to the Patriots.
He lost. Okay,
they did lose to the Patriots. That was with McVay. He was with McVay. That's when Belichick dialed McVay up.
I think Staley won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, Belichick dialed McVay up. Oh man, I love football. Yeah. So just putting a bow on Brian Schottenheimer, because. John, so we're going Thursday. Do we have availability again on Thursday, John?
That's it for this last one. Next week we have Tuesday.
3 days in minicamp. Okay, so we'll do offense on Thursday, Sky. Our rundown, unless anything else comes out. I was peeking on Twitter. I have seen everybody going crazy about Stephen Jones not talking about Jalen Ramsey, but I'm like John, like what John said. This was I told people, don't get excited thinking you're gonna get much more. Unless it's
you know what was kind of funny to me is that he knew it was the Dolphins they played for. When he said that, I was like, okay.
He's aware.
I'm just saying, like, we're not going to act like the name has never been mentioned. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Now they might look at the dollar amount and go, "That's not realistic to us." Yeah. But it doesn't. I don't think that this is on the same level of as a Derrick Henry, where it does not seem like they had any interest in Derrick Henry at all.
Yeah,
as foolish as that seems, it does not seem like there's I wouldn't completely say they have no interest in Jalen. I think they have no interest in Jalen Ramsey at the current price. But if price was right, I think
the Dolphins.
Hey John, the price is right. The price is right. Hey John, hey Scott, the price is right. I'm just saying, dog, the price is right. Listen, what an amazing show! I know. Hey, that's where the June 1st, guy. June 1 is where we already.
We passed that. They holding on to his ass right now. So
thanks, guy. I was looking at the date. I'm all discombobulated, guy. I apologize, y'all. Cowboys Collective, Jeff Heath, episode 38. What a great show. 600 people, guys.
Wow.
Banger.
Wow.
Banger. Oh, Sky. I didn't tell people. Law didn't tell people. You guys can listen back to this.
Okay.
On iTunes.
Okay.
We're all the places, Sky. iTunes, Spotify.
I think Google Podcasts. Wherever you get any of your podcasts, you can find this audio there. Please and hit the 5-star. We're trying to pump that up over there.
Come on with it. And I'm Instagram too. You were doing crazy.
IG, Law crushing the cut up over there.
Oh yes. Shout out to you, Law. And then also, Sarge, I'm not sleepy. I'm just gonna break news. Sky will be taking over as quarterback pretty soon. I think when we get to the season, because if you leave it to my scatterbrain, I'm a musician. I'll go here, there, everywhere. I'll try solo. Sky is very by the book. Yeah, I'll do a solo.
Foots is jazz, man.
I'm jazz.
Is there a blueprint? Is there a blueprint for how it works?
Hey, you know what? You know what? We get our.
I'm not going to mention any names of like who are the most successful podcasts because some of the people that do them, I don't like them at all. I'm not talking about for Cowboy. I'm talking about in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I don't think of them as being like having any type of
structure.
All right, so this is how we will start this thing.
I know. Yeah. And honestly, today, you know what's crazy, Scott? Today, who would have thought we'd be talking about Zeke and we got OTAs today? So I mean, it's all good. But we definitely got some bangers in there. I'll say this. John, I really want you. Your homework is I really want you to pay attention to Kaiir Elam next week at minicamp. The fact that Shotty, and maybe we won't find out nothing, but maybe we will find out more. Like if you could just at least say, you know what, I'm gonna just pay attention for 3, 4, 5 reps and just see like, could this be something real? Especially I think at camp they'll turn it up a little bit more. Maybe they won't, but I hope that they do. So anyway, man,
if we giving John some homework,
give him some homework, Sky. Give some homework, Sky. Just write it down.
I would like to, just what I want to hear about a little bit. What's happening with the Rook, Mafa, right? We haven't heard too much about Mafa.
Yeah, he hasn't really done anything that's really stood out.
Okay, see, well, you passed homework. You got an A on that one.
Yeah. the actual like plays that we've been out there for those 3 practices where there's been like a big play with like a running back. It's really been one throw to Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders had like a pretty nice run today. So, but like outside of that, like there hasn't really been, believe me, we'd be going nuts if like Jaden Blue had some like big play or something like that. Or something. But the way the practices have gone, there just hasn't been a lot there for the run game.
Yeah, it was more so. You're right. Well, I didn't say this earlier, but I usually don't pay too much attention to running back stuff till camp. But I was curious to know, like, is he getting swapped in second team, third? Like, where is he at in that situation? Yeah. That's why I was saying pay attention. Not necessarily how he's looking, but
I normally hate going inside, but today was great when we went inside because you're elevated, and so you could just see so much more than when you're standing in the end zone. So I mean, it was like in like a 10-minute span. I was like, it was because it happened right during team drills. I was like, man, if they're going to do everything right now, team drills wise, I'd rather be sitting up high, I mean, just look at, like to me, an iconic Sports Illustrated cover from just my perspective, I'm not saying of all time, but it's like Jimmy Johnson and he's standing on that tower. Like they had those towers at Valley Ranch. That's where coaches used to be, is like up high like that, because you can see everything. Like when you're down on field level, it's not the best to like really grab a lot of things. Unless it's a highlight play, then you're obviously going to see it. But yeah, no, 3 days, man. I don't know they can keep all the cool plays away from us. We're going to be out there for 3 days. They got to show us something.
They can.
And John, I don't care what nobody says. John is the best on the beat when it comes to giving a realistic analysis. So if you're not tuned into the Cowboys Collective, you missing out, because he's not going to give you fluff. You're not getting that here, but he's going to give you real, like you said, Joe Milton, like you said, Pickens caught his first touchdown. That's exciting. Like as a fan, you have a right to be excited with about Pickens catching a touchdown. And so, at the end of the day, next week we'll be telling, and then we get that big break, and we'll give you guys some updates on what's going to be happening here on the shows. But guys, if you're not tuned in to the Cowboys Collective for training camp, you're missing it. I mean, Scott, I don't know, Law. I don't know where else you would go, because you're not going to get this wall-to-wall coverage. And John, the good thing I like about John is like John's not doing 1,000 different things. He's literally just writing and coming to tell us straight from the brick to the bottle.
Yes.
And on that note, we are out of here. And we got a listener who just got in. Anthony Gallup, you said you just got here. Well, give us a replay on where? On Spotify, guys.
Yes,
and a 5-star review.
Yes, indeed. Let's go on.
Law, you gonna take us home?
All right, man. You guys been listening in to the sounds of the 4 GOATs of the Cowboys Collective. Let's get it. Salute. We out.
And remember, peace. Love you guys.
Peace.
No, what?